All right, y'all. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live. We are in the building, and we about to get it in. We got a great action-packed show for y'all tonight. We're going to get into a lot of stuff. We're going to lead off the show with the retirement of a legend. We're going to talk about the most controversial television show to debut in quite a while. What did this crazy dude do to a coworker and an arrest in a cold case here in the state of Virginia? Also, a New York police officer tells all, and the Walmart death in Ohio has an arrest. You're going to be shocked on who's arrested and why. Ain't no half step with Marcus J is right now.
Open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying,
they must be half stepping.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is back and live. Be down with us tonight, 804-402-2893 to be down with the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio right here live from the den. We are, in fact, the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio. We thank everybody for listening to us. Special thank you to everybody that's listening to us live right now on TuneIn. Thank you to everybody that checked out the website, www.legacyinternetradio.com. It is because of you guys that we are, in fact, the fastest growing internet radio station in the world. Legacy Internet Radio. Tell a friend, check out our fan pages, check out our Facebook pages. Just check us out, man. We appreciate the love that we get. We got a lot to get into tonight, so I'm not going to waste no time with no salutations or none of that kind of stuff. I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to get right to the crew. And I got sitting across the table from me, I got my brother, I got my partner, and I got my friend. Y'all like to know him as Big Rube.
Yo.
Big Rube.
Yo.
What's up, man?
Not much, man. Just chilling.
It's good to see you, man.
Oh, always. Glad to be back in the den.
The den is where we roam, my brother. We appreciate you being here. I'm ready to keep it moving, of course. We got this brother joining us on the live line. We haven't had him in a while. Last time we had him, he graced the den of Legacy Internet Radio with his presence, checking us out all the way from the ATL. I got my brother and my oldest friend. I got K-Dub on the line. What's up, bro?
What's good, peoples? Your boy is back. What's going on? What's going on, family? What's going on, Big Rube?
What's going on? How you living, man?
Hey, I'm living good, man. I must be doing something right. I'm still here.
Hey, I ain't mad at that.
They ain't called you home, so you must be all right then. How about that?
Hey, there you go right there.
That's what it is. Bruh, we're not going to waste no time. You and I talked a little bit about the agenda, and there's some stuff that we talked about, and there's some stuff that we didn't. But the first thing I'm going to get into is Derek Jeter, number 2. We got the legendary shortstop for the New York Yankees, retired over the weekend, actually yesterday. And we're not going to take a lot of time. So if you're somebody that's listening to Ain't No Hashtag with Marcus J, you don't like sports, don't turn us off. Stay with us because we're going to get to the socially conscious stuff here in a minute. But we would absolutely, as Yankee fans, Big Rube and I, and a New York sports fan, NK-Dub, who's not a Yankees fan, but I know he appreciates Jeter, we would be remiss on this show, as we started off as a sports show, not talking about number 2, Derek Jeter, number 2. So, Dub, you're going to take it first, my brother. I got a couple of things that I'm going to get to with Jeter, but I just want you to give me a statement on the man. What you think of Derek Jeter? What's your thoughts on his retirement?
Hey man, you know what? I have to, as a former athlete and just as a sports fanatic, I have to give it up and tip my hat to Derek Jeter. What people may or may not know is that I'm really a New York Mets fan, so kind of just geographically, the Yankees are our rivals, our enemies. But when you recognize someone such as Derek Jeter that has quote unquote done all the right things, he's played the game the right way. I can't do nothing but tip my hat. In the age of social media and athletes just acting a damn fool or whatever like that, you can honestly say that Derek Jeter is kind of sort of what you could say a throwback. He really, I would say in my mind, I think that he resembles a lot of Joe DiMaggio, whereas, he was on the field, he was a great player on the field, but he kept his private life private. I saw a video, an interview recently where he said that, that was a conscious effort, to keep his private life private, even though in the tabloids, or I should say in the newspaper articles, they always talked about who he was dating. If that is the most that you can get out of him, again, I can't do nothing but applaud and hats off to that man. He brought when he came to New York, he allowed a number of World Series championships to be won, and it was exciting to see him play. So again, man, I was fortunate enough to see him play a few times, what have you, and class guy, and he definitely epitomized what being a Yankee is.
Big Ro, what's your thoughts? Derek Jeter, number 2.
The captain. I mean, that's it. He did his whole career with us. And, he helped bring the New York Yankees back to the top of the mountain as they should have always been on. Yes, we won 4 titles. Yes, he has over 3,000 hits. Yes, if I'm correct, he's 5 titles, excuse me. Yes, he's 6th in all-time hits. I mean, and to go out the way he went out, first on Thursday to end the game on a RBI game winner, and then on Sunday to put one in, and then give his hat in Boston, and they showed him mad love. I equate him to Cal Ripken Jr., me being a Yankees fan, not liking the Orioles at all. I respected Cal Ripken Jr. I had no choice because he never did anything crazy. He played the game fair, and he did it as the famous song says. He did it his way, and Jeter did it his way. And far as we know, he hasn't gone crazy and taken any extra stuff or all that. Jeter is the epitome of what baseball players should want to be. No scandals, they ain't catch him in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then on top of it, let's be real, man. This dude dated Mariah Carey, Minka Kelly. I mean, what hot chick has he not even looked at the wrong way and said, I want to date him? I mean, that dude, and then he kept it on the low for real. No distractions, no nothing. Derek Jeter is a class act, and if you play any sports, Derek Jeter is probably at or near the top of my list of the type of player that every athlete should want to be.
Yeah.
On and off the field.
No, I can dig it. I have Steppin Marcus JB down with us at 804-402-2893 is the number to dial to be a part of the discussion here tonight. My thoughts of Derek Jeter, he and I are the same age. We grew up together. I don't know him. He doesn't know me. But as a Yankees fan, he got drafted in 1992, the same year that we both graduated high school. And the year that I graduated college was the year that he was a rookie in Major League Baseball. So I feel like my adulthood has paralleled his career. And there's no two ways about it. We grew up idolizing the same favorite player. My favorite player as a Yankee growing up was Dave Winfield. His favorite player growing up was Dave Winfield. And, so I felt a special closeness to Derek because of that. It's something that I've always known. I watched the game Thursday night in Yankee Stadium, his final game in Yankee Stadium, and when David Robinson gave up those 2 hits and I looked at those 2 home runs, and I looked at the box score and I knew that Derek was set to come up third in that inning. I knew before it even happened how that game was going to end. I knew that he was going to get the walk-off to win the game in Yankee Stadium. Final game of his career was an RBI single. And then yesterday, I got to tell you, I don't like Boston. I can't stand Boston. But you know what? The Boston Red Sox organization knocked it out of the park the way they honored Derek Jeter yesterday. I couldn't have asked for a better send-off. The only send-off that I saw in Major League Baseball was the send-off that we in the Bronx gave him as opposed to any other city in the country. The Red Sox came through with all of the captains of the Red Sox, all of the captains of the major sports in Boston. And then, of course, they even got Paul Pierce, who was a former Celtic captain, to come out. He had, of course, his new team's hat on, but he had a Celtics jersey on. That's ultimate respect. You know he had to go to his team and be like, yo, do y'all mind if I put that Celtic jersey on for just this one day? For him to go through that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
I'm sure the Celtics fans didn't mind that.
Oh, I'm sure they didn't. I don't. Is it the Clippers he's with now? I think is it the Clippers?
No,
he's actually with the Wizards.
With the Wizards. With the Wizards.
Is it the Wizards?
Yeah, I knew it wasn't Brooklyn. I knew he left Brooklyn. And I tell you, some craziness. We're not gonna bore you non-sports fans, but just give us one more minute to kind of talk about Derek Jeter. When you look at the Yankees' history and you look at the Yankees legend, the last legend you might think of prior to the core four, you might think of Don Mattingly. You might think of Reggie Jackson. Well, Don Mattingly's career was shortened because of injuries and he didn't win a World Series. Reggie Jackson only played for the Yankees for 5 years. You got to go all the way back to Mickey Mantle to look at a legendary Yankee. Of course, Thurman Munson died in the middle of the season in that plane crash. 1968, on September 24th on a Thursday, Mickey Mantle played his final game in Yankee Stadium. On September 24th, 2014, Derek Jeter played his final game in Yankee Stadium. On September 28th, 1968, Mickey Mantle played his final game for the Yankees in Boston. And on September 28th, 2014, Derek Jeter played his final game for the Yankees in Boston. You can't write that, Dub. You just can't write it. CC Sabathia said that if they had written the script for Thursday night's game, they had written it the way it was in Hollywood, they would have tore it up and said it was too corny. The dude lives a charmed life, and I'm glad to see him go out. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I'm very happy and proud today to be a New York Yankees fan. I'm rocking the Yankees hat. Final words on Derek Jeter, K-Dub.
Man, greatness. He's not going his stats ain't going to jump out at you in regards to RBIs and home runs or whatever. He was just a solid baseball player that any sports fan would have to just, give him respect and tip their hats to him, man. Much respect to Derek Jeter.
I tell you, Ruben, when to piggyback on what Dub is saying, when you talk about respect, when you look at the final the celebration that they gave him in Yankee Stadium, and you looked up and you saw all of those former Yankees, but then you looked up and you saw Cal Ripken Jr., who is the prototypical shortstop for this generation, people our age, is Cal Ripken Jr., and then you look and you saw Dave Winfield, who was his childhood idol, and then you saw Michael Jordan show up for Derek Jeter. Final words on Derek Jeter, Big Rube. What's your thoughts?
We all knew Derek Jeter was the man. Let's just be real. But you really know when you're the man when the wife of the Boston Red Sox pitcher, Joseph Kelly Jr., tweeted, "When I was 12, I thought I would marry Jeter. Instead, I married the guy who took a selfie with him during his ceremony picture."
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Really? That's funny. That's funny. It's, she ain't that bad looking herself, but he transcends baseball, and I'm not trying to make him a god or anything, but the way he did stuff, the way he played the game, the way he conducted his business, was professional. I don't know much about his personal life other than the fact that the dude, as far as I know, don't have any kids, and he's dated a whole lot of hot women, and the most recent one is some 24-year-old model. Really? Dude, you're 40 years old, and you dating 24 years. Can I get some of that juice? I mean, how you staying young? How you the man? Yo, Derek Jeter, there's going to be nobody else like Jeter. They retired his number. We'll never see 2 again in Yankee pinstripes. But you know what? The only sad thing I wish is I wish that somehow they could push Rivera's year back one more time so they could both go into Cooperstown together.
Yeah,
because
I thought about that.
It's sad. And then the last thing is, who's going to be that douchebag who's going to take one for the team and not make him a 100% ballot Hall of Famer?
I mean, there's so many players. I mean, if you look at history, and again, non-sports fans, hang in there. We're going to wrap this up, and we're going to get into the rest of the discussion. But there's never been a first ballot Hall of Famer who got in on 100% of the ballot.
Yeah.
The person who got the closest is your guy, K-Dub, is Tom Seaver of the New York Mets, who got 97 point whatever it was percent. And so if you look in history, you mean to tell me that 100% of baseball writers didn't think that Babe Ruth or Lou Gehrig or Lou Brock or these guys?
Who was the one that Jackie Robinson,
Hank Aaron, you know what I mean? These you didn't think, you was the guy who didn't think that Hank Aaron belonged in the Hall of Fame?
Well, you have to also look at the time. You still had
we'll take
Ted
Williams.
Jackie Robinson. I mean, I get it. Joe DiMaggio. Nobody really liked Babe Ruth. Actually, it was
Mickey Mantle. Everybody loved Lou Gehrig.
True.
Everybody loved Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle,
except for a couple dudes.
I guess the point is, I agree with you, Ruben. Who's going to be the guy that says Derek Jeter doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah,
he's going to get in on the first ballot. We all need it. No, you only need 75% of the vote. He's going to get in on the first ballot, but he probably won't get 100%. To me, that's crazy. There's certain people that that belong there. And
Cal Ripken didn't get 100%.
Yeah, Cal Ripken didn't. If you look at Jeter has more hits than any other shortstop in the history of the game. He's got 5 silver sluggers. He's got 5 gold gloves. He pretty much owns most of the offensive, non-power records for the Yankees: stolen bases, doubles, all of that kind of stuff. Batting average .310 for his career.
And he got 5 rings.
And he's got 5 rings. Ain't no half step on Marcus J. Dub, I want you in on this next subject first. We're going to change gears. I know those folks who are not sports fans are listening. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J here live on Legacy Internet Radio, on TuneIn, and live replays on YouTube. We appreciate everybody. We're going to talk about one of the most controversial new shows on television today. It's a television show called Blackish. It's a show starring Anthony Anderson and Tracy Ellis Ross as a pair of parents who are raising their 4 children in the upper middle class suburb of wherever. Lawrence Fishburne is playing the father of Anthony Anderson, who's the moral compass of the show. And basically the gist of the show is Anthony Anderson is trying to make sure that he maintains a level of black culture in his children as he raises them in the upper middle class in a pretty much predominantly white neighborhood. I think some of us can relate to that. Some of us cannot. But we're going to talk about it. A lot of the people that have issues with this show because of the name of the show. Blackish, a horrible parody of black family life, is the blog headline that I'm seeing here on the Huffington Post. A lot of people are comparing it to other black shows like The Cosby Show. I've seen it compared to that, Different World and such. But a lot of people have issues with the title, Blackish. What's the deal with that? So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to get the crew's opinion on it, starting with UK Dub. Blackish, I don't know if you've watched it, if you have an opinion on it, but hopefully you do, and you have. What you got?
I have watched the show, and I can't remember. I was doing some show, but to be honest, man, I don't need negative views on this. I probably have to go in.
You're breaking up on us, bro.
If you can kind of
you're breaking up on us, man.
I'm sorry.
You're breaking up on us, man.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but Can you
hear me now?
Good.
what I was saying what I was saying was that probably have to watch a few more episodes before we can really get a good gist of the show. But you know, I don't have a problem with the sentiment of the show. And I'm pretty cool on it, man. I'm pretty cool on it because I kind of, first of all, us as viewers, and then more specifically black people, listen, people are going to have a view negative of any show. I don't care. I mean, be honest with you, man, back in the day, people were talking bad about the Cosby Show. You know, so, you know, there's never going to be a show where 100% of the people, black or white, are going to be in agreement with what they think the show should be or what the title should be and the direction of the particular show. I mean, come on. Everybody get off of their soapbox or what have you. I just think that, you know, with this particular show, it's entertainment. It's a little bit different. You know, you haven't really seen a show similar to it as far as what Anthony Anderson's character is trying to do with his kids and the patriarchal individual that's played by Lawrence Fishburne or what have you. You have a wife that's pretty much, I think that they're trying to say that she's mixed or what have you. So I mean, it's a little bit of a different show, and you know, the episode that I did see or what have you, I enjoyed it or what have you. But I think that we as viewers may want to watch maybe another episode or two before we can give a view on it. But you know, I don't have any problem with anything on it.
You know, Steppin with Marcus, J80440228993. Shout out to my sister, Joy. Joy is listening to us right now, and we appreciate your love and your support every single week, my sister. She is listening, saying that she saw it. She's not quite sure how she feels about the show, and I know a lot of people feel exactly the same way as you do, Joy. Our sister Latanya, she is listening to us tonight. What's up, Latanya? Latanya, she's got a lengthy comment here, so I'm going to kind of try to paraphrase and bring it down a little bit as to her comments, but the gist of it, she said that within this one family, there's no uniform consensus of blackness. The family refuses to adhere to dad's stereotypical expectations. And as for the show, not being a Cosby Show, there's only one Cosby Show in a different world, which also was not relatable to every black person. At least Anthony Anderson's character gives a voice to those who feel unrepresented by the Huxtables. And if she had one complaint about the show, is how many more sitcoms do we need based on the premise that black people with money is funny? It's been done countless times. It's starting to get insulting. We don't need to see 30 variations of the Beverly Hillbillies for a reason. And so that's an interesting comment. My sister Tanisha is also listening to us. We appreciate you, Tanisha. And I'll be honest with you, my sister Tanisha is the reason why we're even talking about this, because she had a very, very interesting blog on her Facebook wall yesterday, and there were a lot of comments on there talking about the show, and I won't get into those specifics, but Tanisha has a big problem with the name Blackish. She wants to know why we got to name the show Blackish. Could there have been something else that we could have named the show? And it was difficult for her to even really get into the show and enjoy the show. And there were a lot of folks that kind of agreed and disagreed, but that's the gist of what Tanisha was saying. And Adam is listening. And also Adam says that he thought the show was pretty good. Big Rube, jump in here. I don't know if you watched the show or not. I watched the show. I'll share my opinion with it here momentarily. But Blackish, Anthony Anderson, Tracy Ellis Ross, Lawrence Fishburne, black family, live in the burbs. What's your thoughts?
Didn't see it. I missed it. I want to see it. You know, I think sometimes we get a little too serious about sitcoms. It's a sitcom, for God's sakes. I mean, it's called Blackish to get your attention. I mean, once again, I haven't seen it. I've seen clips. The clips I saw were funny. You know, so to me, I haven't seen it. I don't want to pass any judgment on the show until I do see it. But from the clips that I saw, which is all about 30 seconds of it, you know, I think it should be funny.
Let me ask you this then, Ruben. Since you didn't see the show, let me ask you this. Since you didn't see it, I guess the discussion that K-Dub and you and me are having right now with the listeners here of Ain't No Half Step on Marcus J on Legacy Internet Radio is not so much necessary for you to have seen the show, for you to kind of talk about the main thing that I really want to talk about, and that's the name of the show, which is Blackish. Do you have any issues with that one way or the other? Does it offend you? Does it not offend you? You think it's creative? Do you think that it's silly? I mean, when you hear the name of a show, Blackish, because I got to be honest with you, I had a very, very strong reaction, which I'll share with you in a minute, but I want to know what your reaction was when you heard that there was a TV show called Blackish, and then you saw those clips and you got a general idea what the show Blackish was about.
No, it didn't affect me negatively. I knew it would affect other people negatively because.
Why do you think it did?
Well, I mean, because, I think that sometimes we get caught up and care a little bit too much about what other people think.
Right.
Now, I mean, it's Blackish. Basically what I thought, black people living in a white suburban community, and they're worried about what the Caucasian people in their community think about them, and because somebody has a decent paying job so they can afford living in a nicer area.
Right.
And then once I saw the clips, Lawrence Fishburne, he is clearly dad who lived through all the struggle, and then his thing is just to make sure that as a grandfather, the grand patriarch, he wants to make sure the kids, don't grow up in craziness, or more so just to laugh at his son raise his kids.
Right. How Step on Marcus J. Dub, when I hear the name Blackish, initially I had a negative reaction to the name Blackish because I'm thinking, I knew that it was a black show. I knew that it was a black show because I know Anthony Anderson and Lawrence Fishburne. I had a pretty good idea that they would have some sort of creative control over it. So I wasn't so much worried about it being like a Norman Lear produced 70s show where you had white folk writing black humor. I didn't worry so much about that because it's 2014. I don't see Larry Fishburne and Anthony Anderson doing a show about black folk that wasn't written by black folk. But I had a strong reaction to the name Blackish. I wasn't really feeling it. And I couldn't really put my finger on why. I'm usually the guy with my fist in the air and black glove, and I have an opinion on everything. I just knew instinctually I did not like the name of the show being Blackish. And now after having watched the show, I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. There was parts of it that pissed me off, really, really pissed me off, because I understood Anthony Anderson's character. And for those folks who didn't watch it, basically Anthony Anderson's character goes through life interacting with white folk who think that they are understanding of what it's like to be black. And so they speak in a hip way and they pump their fists at you and they assume that you know all of the latest dances and songs and all of that kind of stuff because you're black. There's a lot of white folk out there like that. There's a lot of white folk out there that are not like that. But I think the average black guy, particularly the average middle-class black guy, they know that white person. And that white person really pisses them off. It annoys them. And that is what I kind of took away from Anthony Anderson's character, because I could relate to him because I've been that guy. I've been in that position where you get patronized at work by someone who's just trying to be polite, but they don't realize that they're offending the hell out of you. You know what I mean? So when I see the show is called Blackish, but I see that he's trying so hard to keep some culture inside his black children, I had a hard time rationalizing my upset with the name and the upset with how his character was treated. What's your thoughts on that, K-Dub?
Never had an issue with the name of the show, to be honest with you, until I saw, I believe you may have commented on a post or something like that on Facebook. Until then, I didn't even think that anyone had a problem with the name of the show. Obviously, it's done as a marketing tool. I'm sure that I'm almost positive that wasn't the first show when it first was being pitched to the television station. I'm gonna just jump out on a limb and say that probably wasn't the original name, but Blackish. Nah, I personally don't have a problem with it, and just like Ruben said, it was probably done in such a way so that you would have some type of inquisitive notion to find out what this show was really about. So, at no point was I personally offended or, felt any type of way in regards to the actual name of the show.
Ain't no half Steppin with Marcus J. Blackish. Big Root.
Kato, I got a question for you.
What up?
Do you think we as black people can get a little too offended by words?
Yep. Exactly, because just kind of taking just a half a step off to the side on that, everything isn't always racism when it happens to black people. And I personally believe, and I could probably, if I sat down and really thought it out, well, not really thought it out, but I know for a fact that, anything, we as black people, we have a problem with everything. I don't care what it is. You name a particular subject, what's going on in politics or, world views and so on and so forth. We as black people, yes, we sometimes are too uptight. And I think that even the world, for that matter, but more specifically, some black people need to relax sometimes and understand it's a sitcom. So a sitcom means that it's a situational comedy.
Right.
So it's supposed to be comedy. There's sometimes that we get uptight about satire. If let's just say, for example, if Saturday Night Live was to clown the president, oh man, we'll be bent out of shape.
Yeah, ain't no half Steppin.
But that's what Saturday Night does.
Right. Ain't no half Steppin.
Saturday Night Live does. So we need to relax.
Ain't no half Steppin with Marcus J. Joy is saying that the bro mitzvah, really she didn't have much of a problem with it, but the bro mitzvah thing was kind of weird to me because I bro mitzvah, just to give you an idea of what we talking about in the pilot episode of the show, the young man came home. He had a white friend who was having a bar mitzvah, and the young black kid decided that he wanted to have a bar mitzvah as well, and you found out that he kind of wanted to just kind of get the gifts and stuff. I don't think he really understood everything, and so Anthony Anderson tried to teach him a little bit about African culture, and he went way too far with it to the point where it was just weird and kind of awkward, and they ended up having a bro mitzvah where they basically just had a party, and they called it bro mitzvah, but it was basically a birthday party. So that's kind of what it was. I implore anybody who is honest about having discussion about race relations in this country, particularly those of us that are in the middle class black folk who are one paycheck away from being broke as hell, but you drive a Mercedes, so you got a taste of both sides of the aisle. You should watch the show because you might find a little bit of yourself in it. You might find some humor in it. You might get offended. You might find yourself having a discussion with it. But I'll be honest with you, I'm someone who is a staunch supporter of having discussions about race relations. I'm not afraid to say white people. I don't whisper white people when I'm talking about white people. Just like I get annoyed when white people who whisper black people around black people, that annoys me. You should be able to say white. You should be able to say black. You should be able to have a discussion and a dialogue about race relations in this country because we here together. We ain't got no choice. Black folk ain't getting on the boat like Marcus Garvey said and going back. That shit ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? So we here. So we need to keep it 100 with each other and learn the stuff about each other that annoys each other and the stuff about each other that we love about each other and have discussion about it and keep it moving. I think the show Blackish is on the right track. But I like we said, we need to see a little bit more to see exactly what they're going to do with it. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. keeping it moving as we do when we ask the question, what the hell? Because there's a few things that are going to make us ask the question, what the hell? I got this one from my brother Steven Sykes, Mr. LP, who hosts Enliven Radio every single Tuesday night from 7 to 9 right here on Legacy Internet Radio, as well as on your TuneIn apps. Mr. LP helped me to decide that I was going to discuss this next segment here. Dub, as our special guest on the live line, I want you in on this one first. There has been a lot of leaks going on in social media. Leaks meaning you've had a lot of photographs of famous people that have been finding themselves in public forums. For example, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be borderline crass here, but hey, if that offends you, I'm sorry if it does. I'll try to temper my language here a little bit, but I pulled up my Instagram and I saw Rihanna's boobs. And you know what? I mean, I feel how I feel about Rihanna. I don't need to get into how I feel about Rihanna. But the next day, I saw Megan Good's boobs. And I feel a little bit differently about Megan Good than I do about Rihanna. But I don't need to tell you how I feel about either one of them. I think you can get by the tone of my voice how I feel. I'm having a little fun with it. But in all seriousness, this has been going on for the last couple of weeks, couple of months, where hackers are getting into these people's phones and emails and all of that kind of stuff and making these photographs that are allegedly been taken and made for the sole purpose of personal consumption, and now they have been made for public consumption. And the discussion that we were having, and if you give me a minute, I'll pull up the blog and I'll kind of read some of these comments here, because Mr. LP, I don't think that, even though he's not here, I don't think he'd have too much of a problem me reading his comments. But Mr. LP's position was they should not have a problem with these pictures going public, particularly some of the more provocative people, someone like a Nicki Minaj, for example, who would have put these kinds of photos out of themselves anyway. And then they come and they have such this problem about being put out there publicly. Why are you screaming about having FBI intervention if you've done this to yourself because you're not getting paid millions of dollars for making these movies and making these videos and all of this kind of stuff? You tripping off of it coming out in a hack. And that is essentially his position. If he's listening, Mr. LP, feel free to come in, call in, and clarify or hit us on social media. But I think that I have properly represented what his position is. Mr. K-Dub, we don't have to talk about what his position is, but what your position is. You got these hack photos coming out of these stars. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that one, I'll address Steven, and I think that he's wrong because Jill Scott's pictures were put out there as well, and she's never been in a situation where she's dressed provocatively or whatever. But on a bigger, I guess you could say a bigger statement is that, first of all, these individuals are not butt-ass naked. You know what I'm saying? When they're doing their movies and so on and so forth. And these particular private photos that were hacked and spread or whatever like that are done in a way so that the individual that's putting them out there could possibly get some type of monetary payment for them. I think he's off base, personally. Because, again, that's like being mad at somebody that, I hate to go to this or what have you, but it'll properly explain where I'm coming from. That's like going to the person that's been raped and say, well, you were raped because you wore XYZ.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? No one of those individuals that have been, and it's not just those few. It's a lot of famous people that have had their pictures hacked and spread or what have you. But he made mention to specific individuals. But other than this right here, have you ever seen Megan Good's boobs? I haven't seen the Rihanna picture, and I haven't seen the some of the other pictures, but a number of those individuals that are being quote unquote hacked or what have you, I've never seen them in such a way or what have you. So, I think that I understand his sentiment, but I think that I think that Steven is a little off base in regards to it being the person's fault for having their picture being made public.
No, I agree. I 100% agree with you on that, K-Dub. It's funny that you bring up the rape person, because that I made that very point in the blog. I actually said to him, the position that you're taking, reminds me of us blaming, the rape victim for wearing a miniskirt, because you wore a miniskirt that automatically opens you up, to someone coming and violating you. And I also posed this as an example. I said, because I'm a writer by trade, and a journalist, I actually said to him, I said, imagine if you were someone who is a writer and you published an article that you were very, very happy with and very, very proud of, and then all of a sudden, very, very happy and very, very proud of, and then all of a sudden, someone steals your computer. They steal your computer and then they publish your next article, against your will. How would you feel about that? When you talk about someone who may have showed their ass publicly, but then someone else comes and shows their ass, that's a violation. Just because I showed my ass don't mean that I want you to show my ass. You understand what I'm saying, Doug?
Mm-hmm. I 100%. I 100% agree with you.
Big Rube,
what I'm saying? I mean, you don't give those individuals the consent to do that. Whereas a number of his examples that he made, they're consented pictures, they're pictures that those individuals are getting paid off of, possibly. But in this particular case right here, they're not giving the consent for this to be done.
Right.
Let's flip it. Let's flip it. What if it was Denzel Washington and you saw a schlong dong or something like that? You've never seen Denzel in that particular situation before in his movie career or anything like that.
Well, his position was these are people who we have seen like that, and now all of a sudden,
not all of them.
No, true, not all of them, and that's a position that we didn't really delve that deep in. But I mean, even playing devil's advocate, even if we, I even threw at him the porn star. If a porn star had been one of these people who had been hacked, you know what I mean? A porn star is not asking to have their ass shown unauthorized. They get paid for that. So now all of a sudden you putting them out there, that's not cool. I even came at, and I don't want to attack Steven. It's not about attacking him. It's more about that mentality. But I even said to him, I said, look at it this way. Every time you watch a DVD or Blu-ray player, the first thing you see before your movie comes on is piracy is against the law. If you pirate this stuff, you can go to jail. You remember how big a deal bootlegging was when we was coming out? It's still a big deal now, but remember how big of a deal bootlegging was? If you saw the new, and you talk about Denzel, if you saw the new what's the movie, Equalizer movie on bootleg, don't you think that it would be a problem if you saw it on bootleg with Craig and them's head walking across the camera and you hear Pookie and them snapping on, crunching on popcorn and stuff, and you see the bootleg, but then he doesn't get paid for that, but he's supposed to get paid when you go get it from Amazon or you go and get it from Netflix or whatever? I mean, it's kind of, to me, it's the same thing. Big Rube, I want to get Big Rube on in this one. Jump in here.
I mean, I feel like, well, first of all, I guess my first opinion is Steve is incorrect. It's theft. So it's not even the fact whether it's, go ahead and say to Nicki Minaj, I ain't seen her naked. So
exactly.
If it comes out, then that's not right. That's theft. Second of all, I think they need to draw and quarter them. The reason why I say that is because the problem is you have so many kids and just people out here who just really feel like they can just go ahead and just, well, I'm going to hack into this, I'm going to hack into that. I mean, I understand it may be fun for you, but then you go and hide somewhere and now you get there's no penalty for that. Nope, go after them for the full extent of the law, get rid of them. Also, to completely flip it, let's just be honest. If it's on your phone or if it's in the, first of all, don't put anything on your phone or in the cloud, which is a public place that you want people to see. I mean, or because if you don't want them to see it, don't put it there. That's just crazy. That's just like, you know what? I think I'll put my bank account information in the cloud, so you know if I lose it, I can just go to. No, you idiot! You don't put your bank cards or if all that information up there. That's stupid. You know, why do that to yourself? So I mean, it's just one of those things where, on one hand, it's like, you know, you left it on your phone or you put it in the cloud, quote unquote. Well, you kind of get what you get, unfortunately. However, I don't feel like people should just be going and just taking stuff that doesn't belong to them.
All right, I can dig it. Ain't no half step on Marcus J, of course, joining us as she does every single week. We got the co-host of Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J joining us in the building, my sister S.Y. Butler. What's up, girl?
Hey, how are you?
Doing fabulous. You doing all right?
I'm good.
It's
A
good
little
to
tired.
well, I can dig it. But
Yeah.
glad to have you here. And I know you've been listening to this piece of the conversation. What's your thoughts on these hacking photos, man?
If I missed the beginning. Is this with the naked photos on the cloud
Yes.
or somebody posting it?
Yes.
You know, really, it's just plain and simple. Just don't post naked pictures. Really, the cloud. I don't find that a safe haven for anything. Somebody can get to it. Period. If you don't want it to be seen, either don't have it or don't post it.
No, I can dig it. Ain't no hashtag on Marcus J. But hey, let me ask you this. If you took some pictures on your cell phone for your person, somebody who you wanted to exclusively get them, do you think that it's fair to think that only you and that person should be seeing it? Would you not be offended and feel violated if some third party who you don't even know got access to those pictures and presented those pictures to the public in a way that does not make you look, not in a flattering light?
Me personally, I don't believe it'll only be between myself and that person. So I would not, if I'm going to take that picture, I'm going to show you my phone and then I'm going to delete it. I don't even think I would take it and put it on my phone. If you can't see it when it happens.
All right, well, let me simplify it. That's you individually, how you would manage it. But I guess more specifically,
Most people.
how do you feel about the violation? Let's just simplify it. Do you feel it's a violation? Do you feel like, if you do that, then, oh, well, too bad for you. The world saw your ass?
I'm kind of 50-50. I really am on the line with that because it's supposed to be some place where you store things and it's safe, but it's not. So in a way, most people will say, yeah, it's safe. I'm going to put it here. Nobody will ever see it. You don't think about things being hacked into.
Right.
Computers get hacked every day.
Right.
So you don't think that such a large network or database would be hacked into. But, we should really kind of think twice.
Sometimes it
So,
does.
yeah, in a way, it is a violation because people use it because they believe it should be what they say it should be.
I step on Marcus J. Joy saying, what's up to you? That's why she's
Hey, sis.
she's checking in with you. Ain't no hashtag on Marcus J. All right, listen, we're going to take our first break of the night. And when we come back, we're going to get into a couple of current events here. One, what the hell did your coworker cut off another dude's head, yo? That's crazy.
Oh,
And a news anchor drops the F-bomb and an update to a case here that is definitely going to make you go crazy here in the state of Virginia. It's some new updates to a case, a missing persons case, and possibly even a cold case. Marcus J, SY, Big Rube, K-Dub. Ain't no I stab on Marcus J. Be back in a minute.